It's recorded, yep.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Take a roll call.
Cheryl Robinson.
Here.
David Rowley.
Here.
Jeff Lord.
Here.
Tom Armeo.
Here.
Craig Belzman.
Here.
Trisha Kennedy is absent. Andrew Marietta.
Here.
Jim Stewart.
And per our remote access policy.
Here
Jim has-
remote.
Yeah, has a strict circumstances, so he will be participating via virtual. I will forego the chair remarks and we'll move right into the presentation of the audit. Jason, if you'd like to walk us through the audit and any key findings.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me and ask. I'll keep it kind of short and sweet. Again, it was a clean audit opinion. There were no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies or anything. We also did find the IDA complied with the investment policies that were put in place and required by the New York State Public Authorities Law. So that's a statement that goes with it as well. Just kind of some of the highlights of the financials. Operating income went way up. Almost $439,000 increased from last year. There was a small loss last year. This year there was a large increase. Out of that, rent was up a little bit. The Skyline pilot fee was $234,000, so that was a lot of it. And the county appropriation was $200,000 more than last year. Operating expenses were up a little bit, but not as much. Professional fees were up a little bit. Salaries were up, and then the large marketing campaign. Those are the real big things that pushed the operating expenses up a little bit. I did notice you collected the $150,000 ESD loan that had been on the books, or ESD grant that had been on the books for a little bit. And I did pick up some OCR receivables for the last draw of the year on that grant program. Foothills started paying again, which is nice. So that's a positive. The leases, I did make a small adjustment to the leases. From GASB 87 was implemented last year. So any kind of lease has to be recorded on the books if it's longer than a year. So we took care of that last year, and then I made a little adjustment this year. One of the other GASBs that came into effect had to deal with subscription-based information technology contracts. And we determined that there were none that needed to be recorded for the year. So that's not an issue now. There was some work done. I think we capitalized just under $20,000 on the fixed assets. Depreciation is kind of on par with everything else. Not a whole lot going on with the rail yards we saw. I know from reading the board minutes, it looks like there's some activity. Are you going to try to sell off some of these? Seems as though.
Everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table, yes.
So there's that. So again, there were no findings. Everything looks so far seems to be going well. The increase in operating income is really positive. Hopefully some of these programs get going. Is there anything anybody wants me to go through?
I just wanted to confirm that I sent you a revised chart yesterday.
Yep,
Okay.
I got those. Yep, and I added those in.
Good, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, and the board report's just a standard report with no findings. The rep letter, standard letter every year. Megan, there are 3 adjustments I made that go with the rep letter.
Okay.
You don't, since I have access to the online QuickBooks, you don't need to make those.
Okay, thank
So
you.
those have already been done. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
It's easy when it's a clean finding.
My last question, is it possible by later today or early tomorrow that we could get final copies?
Yeah, as long as we get, as long as we get back the rep letter, I'll have Barb do it right away.
You just signed the right letter.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you want to go through the other 2 as well under this meeting?
Yeah.
Jason, I know you were speaking specifically to IDA. I just, for our purposes, is there anything specific on the CRC that you want to call out?
Yeah, that was again, clean opinion. Everything on the CRC is kind of standard year to year. The income was almost the same as last year. I think last year there was an extra fee in there. The only difference is expenses. The insurance went up a little bit. Again, no findings. With this one, since I don't have access to the online QuickBooks, there were a couple of adjustments I made to the prepaid insurance and the insurance expense account. So those somebody should go in and make.
You can do that.
Otherwise, with the CRC, there's no findings either.
All right, any questions on?
None.
So I know it's under new business, but I feel like we might as well just take a motion at this point in time to approve the financial audits.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much for your work, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thank you. If anybody has any questions anytime during the year, holler.
All right,
Will do.
thanks, Jane.
Thanks.
All right, we'll move to the approval of the meeting minutes from February 22nd, both the annual meeting minutes and the board meeting minutes. Were there any questions on the minutes as distributed? Now I take a motion? Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bills and communications. Jody, or Megan, anything you guys want to point out there? Everything seems to be pretty.
So we didn't have a meeting last month, or we did? Well, and either way, these are the paid expenses down at the bottom. You'll see that we're doing the EDC welcome reception that did go up this year. So I have that check here if you guys approve that. Other than that, I think everything else is standard operating procedure.
What was the annual meeting last year?
5, generally 5, yeah.
That's not 6,000.
And then a bond, what was it? Grant reimbursement we got? ARC for the innovation center?
Yeah, I think that's the third one, Jody, right?
Yes.
It's the third reimbursement for the 150.
Also, that's complete.
Just does that close that out?
I don't think that closes that. Because the first one was 8 and then 11 and then that's 55.
All good on people. I got it.
No, it's whatever you spend.
So we still got some money left in there.
I believe so, yeah.
I have a question, is that one of the last charges for hunt engineering and hunt engineering, Richard's rent?
They're working as our construction management firm.
Okay.
And while we're on that subject, I received an email yesterday from Angelica Stewart. Hi Jody, no public comments were received during the public comment period. I'm working on drafting a permit. I'll have it to you as soon as I can. I may have it to you by close of business tomorrow.
The DEC or is that DEC?
Yes.
But the hunt fee is not about management, is it? It's about finalizing something else.
Right now, what they're working on is they're working with Angel Construction on financial contracts.
That answers the question.
Any other questions on any bills? Not gonna motion to approve payment.
What's a move? Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving into new and unfinished business. I know the packets were relatively large this time around. Paris reporting, nothing looked abnormal in there to me, so I just didn't know if Jody or Megan like to highlight anything in the Paris reporting or the IDA.
There's just one change in the Paris reporting, and we did get revised numbers from great work on the Fort Complex. And banks the same, but they reported their sales tax, so those are kind of incorporated into that report. Otherwise, pretty standard.
Did anyone have any questions on? Did anyone read them? Do we need a motion to approve that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We've already done the financial audit. We'll move into the Skyline hospitality. There's a few different agreements that were in your packet. I don't know, again, for me, a lot of lingo and language that I'm probably not gonna flow through.
Basically, what that is that they've asked that their general contractor, BEL Construction, be given also the approvals for the sales tax and all the other forms that are required. We just approved Skyline Hospitalities, and it's pretty standard that once they have a contractor, that we would give them that exemption because they're gonna be purchasing all the equipment supplies.
Quick question. Breaking ground, do they have a schedule for that?
That's under.
That's
under
under
construction. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, ASAP,
they're pretty quick.
That's where all that equipment is up there.
They've got cleared the entire lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went by it the other day.
Any questions on those agreements?
They're putting up the elevator shaft.
If not, I will take a motion to approve.
So move.
Second,
Second.
it's me, notice no one else is here. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bond council approval, we had two responses to that. Jody has laid out kind of the comparison, if you will, of the two and his recommendation. If everyone got a chance to review that, that was on the last page of your packet. Jody, is there anything that you would like to highlight beyond what was already supplied and provided?
No, the only big difference between the two firms, well, there's a number of differences, but with Hawkins, they primarily work in Long Island in New York City, and somewhat up in the Buffalo region, Erie County, where Hoskins and Russ covers everything in between, sort of. Hoskins and Russ, obviously, therefore, has a lot more IDAs that they work with. And the other interesting thing was that Hawkins indicated that they just specialize in bond counsel, really, and they don't branch off into any environmental issues, any litigation issues, and that we would have to hire another attorney.
Yeah, that seems to be a pretty key driving input.
How do we arrive at who the bidders were, or did we send this to a list of 10 and we only got 2 responses, or how did that RFP?
No, basically, there's firms out there that monitor IDAs, RFPs, pages, and they distribute them to various companies. That's how Hawkins got involved, is that they received the information from a third hand.
So I'll ask it a little bit differently. There's gotta be more IDA bond councils in upstate New York than just Hutchinson.
Yes,
Did we reach them with the RFP?
not other than the advertisements that we put.
So there's no direct RFP sent to any specific.
So it's like posted or something?
Yeah, it gets posted, we have run an ad in the papers.
Seems
Is there like a statewide posting for this or not?
It's government.
I mean, you know, I'm thinking construction postings, Dodge report, not the Dodge report, and things. Is there anything like that with this?
The Dodge report does look at all our RFPs, in fact, they call me about this project and other projects that we're involved with right now, about 3 weeks ago.
So is there an equivalent for posting for legal counsel? That I'm not aware of that, so you might be asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine next year we could reach out to bond councils that I'm aware of.
Is this done on an annual basis?
We usually haven't, but we're going to in the future. Nixon Peabody is another large one, and Harris Beach. We can reach out to them.
Yeah, that would make, to me, this is almost apples and oranges.
Right.
You know, you have upstate guys that's focused on bond and other things, and you get somebody downstate instead of the upstate firms that we all, because I know both of those.
Every school district in the county has a bond council, everyone, right? Yeah. They, primarily specific to building projects,
Mhm.
bands and bonds. That doesn't necessarily mean those firms aren't involved in IDA.
So is everyone comfortable moving forward this year with this?
Yep.
Proposal and then looking at, again, as we look at next year's RFP, specifically targeting some of those keys,
Why do you think, does it have to be done today? Does it have to be done today? It won't work for us?
Why wouldn't, I mean, they are.
Yeah, we already approved them at the last meeting
Yeah,
as our,
we did approve
We,
that.
yeah,
so,
yeah, the annuals,
Oh, the organization.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm in favor of approving them, then sort of casting a wider net. In the coming years, we go back up.
So I guess the question, I mean, like for me, like, I've already approved it, so to speak. I'm comfortable moving forward this year and then move that into the consideration set as we go into next year's RFP.
Right.
Or is there somebody that's feeling very uncomfortable with moving forward with?
Well, we'll be halfway through the year by the time you get
Yeah.
another round done, so why don't we go ahead with Hodgson and Russ and
And then, yeah,
just make sure we get a little more in-depth, localized, coverage next time.
Yeah, I'll see.
and then to do it before our annual.
before we,
So we have that, yeah.
We can probably also list it with the New York State Economic Development Council on their request for proposals.
Might as well try.
Yeah, I think just target and cast a wider net perhaps for the next round, and try to get that in before the annual, so when we're going through our annual meeting, we have your recommendations and the comparisons. Okay. So, do we need a motion to approve this, since we've kind of already approved them? I'll go ahead and take a motion.
do we have a contractual agreement with them for the very period of time that we approved, or it's
Yeah, we'll enter into an engagement for the entire year,
for January to the,
December 31st.
That's
oh,
what we would be approving. I don't know if we would approve it. That's the actual contract.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll just wait
I
until
would
we
think
get the
so.
contract.
We're not approving anything, so.
We already approved
Because
the
you're
annual
yeah.
as being the bond council, so,
Each of them have read engagement letters in their proposals.
okay. So essentially, is that what we're approving then here today, is the draft engagement letter?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can, approve the engagement letter and then, I mean, I'm just thinking about on the county side, the contract always gets negotiated afterwards and then we get out of the contract, come back to us to, I'm just saying if we wanna review it again before it's absolutely finalized, but I'm assuming there's something more than the engagement letter, right? Or that we would sign off on.
That's really the.
That's all they're using.
That's all we do, that's all the auditors can see from us.
Well, then we're not really bound to anything more than the. That's maybe to our advantage.
you know, they can still keep billing it.
Yes. Maybe.
Won't stop, right? Or not, they will bill it again, right? They
We
bill it.
already approved it. I think it really says everything. We already did it.
All right, let's do it one more time for this sick, good faith. It's gonna take a motion to approve the
So
engagement
moved.
letter.
Oh, I'm
So I'll second Trish's motion.
second. All right, there you go.
All in favor?
I want to go there.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment, we have no public. Executive session, we will hold and we'll do that at the end of the last meeting. Unless anyone else has a reason for executive session for the IDA. Not take a motion to adjourn.
So
Thank you. We'll move into the. We have so many acronyms, the ORYLDC. We'll carry over the roll call from the IDA, also noting that Patricia has arrived, so she is here in attendance. Forego the remarks. New and unfinished business, again, we have the parish reporting for the rail yards. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary there, anything you wanna?
No, the only thing that the state controller wants is they want the value of the land separated out from all of our other properties. And that's what we did last year, and that's what we're doing this year. That's the only asset that shows up as the LDC. But they, which is odd because they claim that we can't create a subsidiary corporation. But since it was created, they're saying we've got to report on it.
All we have is land.
So this, so de facto is separated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the question? I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
All we have is land, so what are they asking us to do?
They want that separated out
From what?
from our assets and put it into
What
the,
other assets?
all the other land that the IDA owns,
That was-
like IOX is building, like,
But isn't that
So it's-
separated because it's sitting in this?
Yeah, but
yes.
So they want the separated land to be separate.
originally they didn't want us to create.
They didn't want us to have a subsidiary, so normally that would have been under the IDA.
Are we still
But they-
in New York State?
Because we do have it, they now want it on their own. So we can't report this land with the IDA Paris report. We have to have a separate,
They tend to be picking
Because
up
we did
that,
it.
because we did.
that rare,
That makes sense.
rail yards for some reason.
Yeah.
What's the reasoning?
I'm sorry?
Why are they picking on the rail yards? Why not the industrial park or
Because they're in the IDA.
Because those are all
In
owned
the
by
zones.
the IDA,
they're all what?
owned by the IDA,
And the rail yards is owned by?
The LDC.
the LLC.
So because it's separate entity, essentially we have to report it separately. We can't report it under the IDA, and that's
Under the IDA Paris report.
Why you do
correct.
So
that? You didn't know that. I didn't do that.
Right, and what our auditors do
it's
is
a waste of time. Let's just move on.
they do an audit of the IDA. And then they have a separate page that shows what is under the LDC and the IDA on it. Because they view it as part of the IDA.
Okay.
That's a better explanation.
Okay. Any other questions on the LDC Paris report? Can I get a motion to approve? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. And so the financial audit was wrapped up in the IDA audit.
Yeah.
Does it need a separate approval here?
No.
Okay.
Because you approved that. There's no activity. So that's why.
Correct. An executive session requested for LDC. Not take a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, right.
We'll call the CRC meeting to order, again carrying over the roll call from the IDA and the LDC. I'll forego chairman's remarks. We'll move into the approval of the meeting minutes from February 22nd. Were distributed in your packet. Any questions, comments, or changes? Now to take a motion.
So
Second. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Again, moving into new and unfinished here, we have the parish reporting for the CRC. Pretty boilerplate, I thought, pretty standard. Anything you'd like to point out or call out, or any questions anyone has on that? Now, we'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The financial audit was talked through in the IDA, but we'll take the formal approval here for the 2023 CRC financial audit.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, executive session, we will do our traditional executive session for discussion of personnel. If we could ask the staff to leave. All right, let it be noted, we came out of executive session, no action taken, and so we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jen. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to stop it.
You're
Not home.
home away.